Every trip starts the same way. Wife always says, don't get hurt. I say, I won't. And so today was an easy day. Instead of doing a 2-day, which would have been about 800 miles, I did 350, 358, something like that, to Byron, Georgia, which was my namesake. My middle name is Byron. Figured, perfect. So that's Byron, Georgia. Loaded up probably more camera gear than I did underwear. And so was packing pretty light, but just didn't have a lot of space because I had a drone and 3 different cameras and a bunch of things. So this is about 4 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to get to Byron by about 12 or 1 o'clock so I could do some shooting. And skies look a little threatening, but not too bad. And bike had a full tank of gas in it. And off we went. So I didn't really do a lot of shooting of just droning on the highway. I think everybody's seen that sort of thing, but did that. And it is kind of nice in the morning when there's nobody out to be able to just, run as fast as you want. And so I did. And then pretty soon came upon what I was looking for, and so pulled off, and there it was, the water tower. So got the drone out, shot the water tower, had a couple of police a little concerned about it, and ended up there. And so it looked like it was going to rain, and it did, so I couldn't shoot all the things like signs like that, and like that, and like random signs like that. And of course the city hall, it's got my name on it. So back to doing what I always do, and a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and finally arrive at this. It was probably the worst Ramada Inn I've ever been in. Anyways, here we go. So what did we have? We had about 5,000 people. Looked to be about 2,000 camped, and all the other smart ones decided to use hotels. And of course, every day and every night it rained. So lots of people running around with wet sleeping bags and bitching about this and bitching about that. But during the day, it was super clear and boiling hot. I mean, it was heat advisory, over 100 degrees, and it was humid, not by Florida standards, but it was evil. And so basically, it was a fairground and had tons of different buildings, which was pretty cool. So basically, all the camp areas were spread out over here, and then I think I'll spin around and show you just briefly what the buildings look like. It was a huge complex, perfect for what was going on, and everybody seemed to be having a good time. It was really well organized. It was a lot of fun. It was worth it, at the end. That's the main exhibit hall. Then basically what I wanted to do here is run through all of the main streets that had a whole bunch of different things that you and I would be interested in. So this is where they were doing tire installs. They were selling just about anything that you could buy. And so it was small companies, Continental, big companies. Liquid Moly was there, which was really cool. It's a great oil if you've never used it. Insta360 was there, trying to explain to people how to use the damn thing. Revit, which is interesting, is a Swedish company, Dutch company. Really good quality stuff, super expensive. And then of course Redzilla, the General Motors of stuff that you would buy for bikes, was of course there in force. There's 2 main streets. So all the lighting people were there. Denali was there. They were doing installs, which was real nice that they weren't just there to sell the stuff. This is very early morning, and this is while people are still trying to dry out their sleeping bags, I think. AMA was there, which is interesting. We somehow struck a deal with the AMA. Not sure what it means for the MOA, but I think it's good things. Just a whole bunch of different stuff. A lot of people getting stuff installed. I mean, I got Michelin tires put on it, and I'm not really quite sure whether I got much of a deal. But anyways, I got them done. Climb, I don't know how you pronounce it. It was everywhere. I'm going to take you through the exhibit hall too, doing the same thing. So anyways, these are the main streets, ending with Continental here at the end. There are tons of food vendors, so there was no problem about getting stuff to eat and not leaving the compound. It was pretty easy.
Cool. So this is the cool ice cream girl.
Nice people.
Cool ice cream girl here.
All right. And Guy.
And the team.
And is that Mom? Or?
It is Mom.
It is Mom. Yeah. All right.
And like buildings, all sorts of buildings. I have no idea what this is. It's like a welcome center, but a log cabin in the middle of nowhere. So then they had large venues where music was playing. These people were atomic. They must have played 3 hours straight. And so this is just a place where everybody could get out of the sun and get into air conditioning, or at least into the shade, and basically talk it out. A lot of people, I don't think I met anybody that wasn't from somewhere, in the United States. I don't think I missed one of them. They're everybody. I mean, there's people from Seattle, locals to Alaska, and just next door as well. So they're pretty cool. This is the exhibit hall. This is where you get ready to bring out your credit card, and it was massive. I mean, it was really just amazing. So they had everything from SkyMed, if you recall, those are the people that pick you up if you're adventure biking anywhere in the world and put you on an airplane to a hospital. And so Wonderlic, and I don't know what that is. I think it's the navigation software. Custom-made earplugs, with radios implanted in them or whatever it happened to be, all there. That was pretty cool. Expensive stuff though. And so here you have just everything. The thing on the right, it's the Botox. They're getting Botox while this is going on. Not quite sure what that's all about. But anyways, probably about 5 streets in this place. And so all the tire people are there. There's Metzler on the right. Flying Eyes, good about sunglasses, I guess. More climb. And so Griffin was there, which is a pretty good mid-range stuff. SW Mototech, higher end stuff, the bags and all that stuff. So then there's Shad, shows, does all the luggage. Bunch of different little pieces of little people that have specific kind of cottage industry things to sell. And Michelin. And the Michelin guys, it's a giant tire manufacturer. And they had the shittiest display ever. And 2 guys that just didn't give a damn about anything. They didn't engage with anybody. They didn't do anything. Just amazing. I guess they were just taking a junket on this thing. And so that's what was there. And then here, Held was there. Good gloves, good people, boots and gloves mostly, I guess. And then a lot of different, related charities and stuff like that was there as well, which is kind of interesting. Everybody supposedly had a deal, a show deal. but it was hard to see. There's brake free on the right, you know, the lights that go onto the helmets. Really interesting idea. Bridgestone was there. They were installing stuff too in the streets that we just went through before. Motorcycle underwear company. That's pretty weird. Big Ear, my favorite earplugs. Custom made stuff they just inject. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. I think I go through Wunderlich afterwards, but there's Schuber, which is the German modular helmet company. They were doing the land office business, you know, selling the insides of helmets as well as helmets. So a bunch of people here. Anything, you know, this was one on the right is electronically stimulating your muscles and backs and stuff. On the left side there is just a huge amount of MOA store stuff, so you got to see all the stuff. And of course, they wanted you to buy it all. Stuff on, you know, small chairs they pack away into nothing. That was kind of interesting. It was really good. I think a lot of people came in, yeah, probably to buy some stuff, but mostly to get into the air conditioning. There's anti-bike, you know, so there's a dozen different tour companies, mostly in the Baltics and other parts of Europe, that they would take you on. There's the airbag guys, more climb on that side. Really expensive stuff, but you know, if you got the cash, it's good quality stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Helmets, showy, you know, they were there. Big companies that were there to, you know, sell just about anything that they had with them. So on the right there is the Nomar tire changing thing and their pneumatic you know, stand that they put the bikes up on, work stands. More helmets. Off to the left is Moscow Moto, right? It's another super expensive European manufacturer with cardio for doing communications on bikes. Communications. Just a bunch of different things. There's I don't know how to pronounce the name, but that's the newest stuff for hard luggage. Really well built stuff. No idea how much, you know, how expensive it was or anything. California Superbike School. One of my alma maters. Oh, that was really cool. That was fun. Talking with them again. That's Keith Coe. Runs that school. Or owns it. Let's see what else we got here. Just kind of cool, you know, vibe was pretty laid back. Nobody was in a rush, which was pretty cool. Griffin on the right. Don't know much about their clothes, but boy, they had a really good display. Nashville Motos on the left there. That's a big company that's buying up all sorts of dealerships in Florida, mostly in Florida. This is cool. This is a company that just did three-wheel conversions and sidecar attachments to contemporary bikes. You know, obviously BMW, but it's pretty wild. The finish on this stuff is incredible. And I had to go through Wunderlich. Felt underdressed. Very high-end. Lots of different things. The bikes, all the bikes obviously were bristling with their stuff on it. Another charity, Christian Motorcycle Association. See, they've been a lot of different ones. Then at the end here, you've got Hex, which is, the GS 911 guys. And then that guy who's in a beard talking with a blue shirt, that's Ted. What's Ted's last name? For Beamer Shop. Porter. Ted Porter. He was there. It was kind of cool to see some faces and names he ordered stuff from. They also brought the SWV tools. If you've seen those toolkits, pretty well thought out stuff. Expensive, but sort of thought out. Fits in all the spaces per bike. They'll make a toolkit that's made just for that model of bike, or at least recommend all the stuff. And that's about it for the exhibition hall. It's cool. I liked it. So in the hall, a lot of people camped out against the walls just to stay, cool. This is where they had all the seminars. There's probably 8 or 9 seminars a day. So each one just everything. A lot of different tours, European tours, stuff like that, and then some technical stuff like tire technology seminars and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of guys that are pretending they're interested in this seminar and just want to get cool and sit down. But it was really neat. They kept things popping along, and for the most part, the information on their website and mobile app was correct. It got changed a whole bunch of different times. So that's basically the exhibition hall, which is like the biggest one. And then this thing is an exhibit hall that is for made in Tennessee. So I think normally they have a lot of trade manufacturers in there to show what's going on, but this time they had custom bike manufacturers in Tennessee. That's what I got out of it, along with the place where they show the vintage BMWs as well. So let's go in here. And it was air conditioned. It was so nice. But you can see it's not a cut rate thing. There's a lot of different things going on. So in here, a variety of different bikes, all different kinds that were made by custom shops that are in Tennessee. And then in the middle were the 3 bikes that were up for drawings. So they did 1 bike every day, every night. So it's the Boxer down there of the new one. And it's the 900cc, well, I don't know, FCR, something like that. It's pretty cool. All along the outer edges of the building where all the, there's the 1000cc that's there. We're there we're volunteers and stuff like that. And then for some reason, I guess because everybody thought, oh my God, they're so valuable, they tucked away the vintage display, and it almost felt like you weren't invited to get in there. But anyways, in perfect order, chronologically, were all the bikes, and all of them were up to show quality. I mean, it was pretty well. A few people in there. Most people, I think, thought, oh, I guess I shouldn't go in there. But mostly the guys who brought the bikes were in there. And then two people at the end looking really serious, and I asked them, well, what are you doing? And they said, well, just so we can get people not to touch the bikes. More fun is Beerfest. So Beerfest was basically a place where all of the, for one day, unfortunately, for one day, all the local craft breweries in the area got to set up shop. And we walked around with a very small glass, getting free samples and everything. And that was awesome. Good people. This is probably minutes after it opened, so there wasn't that many people, but then it was just mobbed for the rest of the day. Almost 6,000 riders, but Ted Byron said to me. All right, demonstrations. Police guys riding around in circles. So this was pretty cool though, when you really saw what they were doing at such low speeds and doing such tight stuff. They would do these, I think they probably did 3 or 4 shows a day, so they were pretty tough. Yep. And here he's demonstrating counter leaning, right? So it's pretty remarkable to see what they can do. But I don't know about you. I've gone to every parking lot, never seen this many cones in it. But it was pretty cool what he did. Concerts every night. And this is pretty funny. And so, since you're next to Nashville, we've got really good acts. Really professional acts. But the final night on Sunday, the head vocalist for a John Prine tribute band, which is really, an old, for those who know it, an old folk singer, got COVID. And so they got these people. And so this is from School of Rock, and they're doing death metal, and I had to shoot the crowd because for the reaction. It was like, what the hell is going on? And the reason why they're there are not throwing things and leaving is that every night they had to be there for the drawing of the bike. If they wouldn't get it. So that was pretty hilarious. And I mean, eventually, they started to warm up and really like dancing pigs. That really took it all. There's one of the bikes that for that night is the one that was getting raffled. People who are coming up to the bucket are not giving tips to the band. They're putting their raffle tickets in there for the bike. So it was pretty hilarious. And the School of Rock people, there isn't a kid in the band there that was any older than 14. And they rocked. They were good. They were very good. So that's basically it.